We're gonna get ready to cook a turkey. This thing has been defrosting. It's Wednesday morning right now. It's been defrosting since Saturday evening. Feels like it's pretty defrosted. You want this thing to be defrosted. First thing we want to do, we want to dry this thing off. While we're doing that, we can get rid of some of this garbage that we don't need. Number one, this thing, landfill. Don't need that. This thing's tied off with plastic. Got this giant turkey my son gave me. Gotta get rid of this tie here if I can figure out what the heck it's tied to. There we go. Just a garbage, we don't need that. We got a giant neck here. Gonna use that for gravy, so we'll put that off to the side. Still got some junk in here. That should be about all you're going to find inside of there. Dry this as we go. Want it nice and dry. We're going to dry brine this turkey, so not going to fill any buckets with water. This thing would take a 5-gallon bucket to try and cool off. But if we go into this side, gonna find more stuff. Should find a bag here. Don't cook this. What you got here? We're gonna use some of this. I'm gonna put it aside. I'm gonna use the giblets, but I'm not gonna use the liver. I'm gonna throw that away. I have no use for liver of any kind. So we'll just keep drying this thing off. Hopefully this thing is defrosted. If not, it's gonna be by tomorrow. Alright, I got a piece down here, this thing down here, this big chunk. We don't need this. This is, yeah, it's got a lot of meat on it. We'll hang on to that. Got a bunch of fat in here, and that's why it weighs so much. Just keep drying it off. Turn this bad boy over. Still a lot of liquid coming out of this. May not be totally defrosted, however that would be optimum. But what we want to do next, we're not going to cook this thing whole. Get rid of as much of this liquid as we can around here. We need bleach for this table when I'm done with it. Gonna grab some kitchen shears. So what we want to do is we want to take this backbone off. You can hear it crunching. You can get a workout with this one. Want to get all the way down. I have in the past gone with a cleaver at some point because this gets too crazy. We'll just kind of go through this as fast as we can. Want to get that out. We'll put the scissors back together. We're just a big chicken, but you can hear bones crunching. Still got some ice in here. It's not good. Come back after this is done. We're back. What I ended up with was this giant backbone. I don't need that. Got liver stuck to it. Don't want that. I got this big backbone. We're going to use this for the gravy also, so we'll set that aside for now. Jeez, blood everywhere. Bleach and water, people. Anyway, as you can see, got the inside of a turkey here. It's like the inside of a chicken. I want to dry this off too. You need a lot of paper towels for this, but it's worth it. Trust me. Did this the same way last year and it turned out fantastic. The only way I'm going to ever do a turkey again is to spatchcock it like this one. So, what I'm going to do now, turn it over. Look at the size of this thing. It's giant. I'm not going to need this either, to be honest. Let's get rid of you. I don't know if you can see this. That's okay. I'm just cutting off a big chunk of fat over here. I don't think I've ever cooked a turkey this big. Alright. Get rid of that. Spread this bad boy out. And we're going to want to keep drying him off. Alright, now comes the fun part. Now we split this out. We have it spread a little bit. And you're going to want to take all your weight and push down on it till you hear it crack. Push. Damn. This one don't want to crack. There we go. I'm hearing them crack. Crack this thing open, but he doesn't want to come out. It's like cracking a pro wrestler in half. Okay. Let's turn them around, see what happens here. See if it's easier this way. Jeez, I don't weigh enough to crack this thing. More coming out of this thing. Well, we'll get them cracked. Don't worry about it. You should hear it crack. I already heard it crack once, but there we go. Helping it out because it's so damn big. We'll get this thing down. That took some doing, but we have it all opened up. Continue to dry this thing, and I have a bunch of salt. So I have about a tablespoon of salt for every 4 pounds, and just a guess, I'll get rid of as much liquid as comes off of this thing. We're looking okay. So let's set this aside. You want to salt everything. You want this thing to dry out overnight and let the salt do its thing. So make sure we get all of it. Turn them over. Finish the other side. Make sure you get his armpits. The whole thing, get this stuff all over. No need to worry about over salting this. Stick to that tablespoon for every 4 pounds. Just use it. We want to get salt everywhere. We want this stuff to really soak in and season that meat for us. You're not going to need to season. Well, not season. You won't need to salt this turkey tomorrow. Get in there. There you go. We're all happy. Everybody's happy. Now it's time to move this guy over. It's looking good, nice and salty. We're just going to move it over to a pan, just a baking pan with a grate on it. You don't want this thing sitting directly on the pan. Not worried about how he's positioned here. Don't really care. So we're just going to put him in the fridge uncovered for about 24 hours. It's pretty disgusting. About 24 hours, and then we'll break him back out. Okay, since we got that turkey taken apart, we might as well do something that we don't have to do tomorrow. Get it out of the way today. We're going to make the stock for our gravy. So I just have all the turkey parts that took off of that thing, including the neck, the backbone, the giblets, a couple other pieces that have some meat on them. Not worried about the fat. I'm going to get all that stuff out later. Got some sage, rosemary, and thyme to toss in there. You can use dried, but since I'm using this in gravy, I really want to use the fresh stuff. Found it, surprisingly, this time of the year, so I'm going to use that. Got some rough cut carrots and celery. Half a cup of dry vermouth. You can use dry wine. You can use more chicken broth. Don't use anything if you don't want. One large diced onion. About 6 cups of chicken broth. And some avocado oil and a couple of tablespoons of butter just to make those onions, vegetables, and everything else taste amazing in our gravy tomorrow. So, without further ado, let's move over to the stove and get to cooking. We have our stock pot on medium-high heat. Put some avocado oil in here, a couple of tablespoons. And then we're going to start dumping in our turkey parts. Want to get a good sear on these. Might seem kind of disgusting, but stuff is pretty good. Adds a lot of flavor. And it doesn't smell bad either. It's been cooking for about 3-4 minutes. Starting to get some color. We got a lot of fat rendering off of here. What I'm going to do is take these out for now. We'll get our vegetables going. Stir up the oil. I did turn these down a little bit, but it's an electric stove, so it'll take a minute. Just start to sizzle. Some good stuff on the bottom. It's going to be amazing. And what I want to do is, I know it's hot, but I want to drop some butter in here because I'm going to cook some onions. Always cook onions first, at least I do. Just moving around. Stuff right off the bottom. It'll all come off the bottom at some point and help make our gravy incredible. We'll let this go for a minute or two. It'll soften up a little bit, and then I'm going to toss in my celery and carrots. While these onions are going, I'm just going to kind of go around with a flat spatula here, with the spatula, and try and deglaze this a little bit. Liquid later will do a better job, but I want all this fond off the bottom. That's some good looking stuff. I think we can put our celery and carrots. I didn't peel these carrots, I just cleaned them real well. Don't really see a reason as long as they're clean. So we're just going to stir around, get a little bit of oil to make these things happy. And let this cook for probably another 5 minutes. We'll see you in 5. Been 5 minutes, and this stuff smells like heaven. I might have to buy a turkey just to make turkey stock. This stuff smells incredible. So what I'm going to do is take the turkey pieces, pop them back in here. They need to get some of that love. And I'll take our sage, rosemary, and thyme and just throw it in there. Don't need to chop it up. Put some more sage in there. Because it tastes like holidays. Then what I want to do is take my vermouth. Oh my God. It's going to be the best gravy ever. And then on top of that we'll put a chicken broth. And we're going to bring this to a boil. Turn this bad boy up high. We'll bring it to a boil, then we'll bring it down to a simmer. Come back when it's boiling. Starting to boil here. Moving around and get it. Oh my God, this smells incredible. This should never be just for the holidays. So I'm going to turn this down, get this thing to simmer. And I'm going to simmer this down to probably about a third. So about 2/3 of what we're looking at right now. Probably take an hour, hour and a half, maybe a little longer, but can't wait. So while we're doing that, we can move on to something else. So here's something else. What I love, not so much on the day of a holiday, but afterwards for making sandwiches, is cranberry sauce. So I got a good one here. It's really simple. You don't have to buy that canned garbage. I got just a 12-ounce bag of cranberries, separated a half a cup we're going to use later on. I have a cup of sugar, which isn't the be-all, end-all. That's what I start with, and we'll see what we need later on. I also have some zested lemon, and all I did there was I have a serrated paring knife, and I can see where the zest is, that there's nothing coming through, and I just cut it along. If I have a little more in here, that's fine. I also have a couple of tablespoons of water in here, only because I need that to cook with. And that's it. We'll put some salt and pepper in at the end, but to cook, this is all we need to start. So let's get to it. We're starting off on low heat because we're going to have some sugar in there. We don't want to burn it. So the majority of our cranberries can go right in. I'm going to dump this water and lemon zest in. A little bit more. Let's get it all. And then our sugar. You remember that's all we're really using. So we'll just kind of move this around. We're just going to cook this at low heat until this sugar starts to dissolve. Come back when something's happening here. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes and the sugar is pretty much dissolved. Just going to stir this occasionally. Leave this on low heat until these cranberries start to soften up a little bit. A couple of them are starting to. Notice they're getting a little bit darker. So we'll let this go and we'll come back when they're soft. This thing's been going about 12 minutes. I've been stirring them about every 30 seconds to a minute. So make sure that we don't get any sugar burning in here. And see, the liquid is starting to turn color. They're getting a little bit softer, so I'm going to turn this up to medium heat. And I'm going to cook this, stirring it, keeping an eye on it until we see cranberries start to burst. And I don't think it'll be that long, maybe another 10 minutes, we'll see. God, it smells like heaven in here. Look at this. This has been going for about another 10 minutes. So And I would say it's just about done. I put the remaining cranberries in there probably about 2 minutes into this part. So 10 minutes on low with just the sugar, cranberries, and lemon. And then once it's all melted, we'll turn this off. I'm calling this baby done. So 10 minutes on low, then another about 10 minutes on medium, and we're done. Now we just need to taste this. It's going to be ridiculously hot. Doesn't need any sugar. In fact, if you're like a really tangy, you might want a little less sugar. It's going to be great on a turkey sandwich. A little bit of salt, some pepper. Just like butter, everything's better with pepper. Alright, one more taste. This is a clean spoon. Oh, baby. Perfection. And we're done with this. All I'm going to do with this is put it in the bowl I'm going to serve it in tomorrow. Let it cool off. Put it in the fridge. Tomorrow morning I'm going to pull it out. Let it sit, get to room temperature, and we'll be ready. It's not the same spoon. Settle down. Alrighty, now all we have to do is wait for our chicken stock to be done, and we'll be done till tomorrow. Stock is done. And all I'm going to do, got a pot with a strainer. I'm just going to pour all this stuff right in there. I just want the liquid, but I want all of the liquid. We have a lot of it. Just about going to fill this up. Nice. All right, there's that stuff we don't need. Let's get this stuff. And we'll get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. Now the next step is a pretty simple one. Got this fat separator. It's awesome. Holds 4 cups. This one holds 4 cups. And the release is at the bottom. So all this fat, and there's plenty of it from that turkey, is going to rise to the top. So when you fill this up, all the fat just rises to the top. So we're just going to take another pan and get all the good stuff out and leave that fat at the top. So what I'm left with here, I had about 1.5 cups of fat. Obviously, we don't really need that. Could use it for gravy tomorrow, but I'll probably use butter instead. And I have a ton of stock that we're going to use for gravy, as well as another recipe we're going to make tomorrow that usually use chicken stock for, but why not use turkey stock? So the only thing we have left to do today is to make sure that the bread we're going to use for stuffing tomorrow is stale. So I'm going to take some, I have some croissant loaves and some ciabatta bread. And we're going to take some of that out and let it get stale so we can make our stuffing tomorrow. So come on back and see how we finish this up tomorrow. Make sure, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe, like, go ahead and share if you care, and hit the notification bell if you want to see future videos.